Hello and welcome to the Walk and Love podcast. I'm TJ.
And I'm Brooke.
And today we are going to talk about the fruits of the Spirit. I'm not hearing that. There it is.
That was so loud.
I think we did that right. But if we didn't, it's okay.
We're still going?
We're still going.
Wow.
I started
Okay.
laughing because I realized that while you read the notes, we didn't actually talk about the notes.
We did not.
So it kind of
No
feels
notes.
No notes.
No notes.
like no check-in on the
No
notes.
notes.
Right.
No notes. No notes. No notes. No.
Wow.
Wow.
That was also loud. Or maybe
I
it's just my headphones. Maybe my headphones are really loud.
And then you'll be saved. Obviously, we've never done this before, so
Yeah.
this is our first time. But if you're here for it, thank you for listening. I just checked to make sure it was recording. Okay, everything's fine. It's going to be great. If you're here, thank you for listening. Thank you for making this part of your week. And thank you for commenting on last week's episode.
Yeah.
It just is encouraging to us. It helps us keep going, know what to talk about, know what hits home. Amy said it was her second favorite episode behind Courage Over Fear. Rachel really enjoyed and loved when we talked about communication, about emotions. And Rebecca says she feels like there's a similar relationship between tools in your tool belt and the idea of Sabbath. If you work with your hands, Sabbath with your mind. Like if your only tool is a hammer, maybe try some of the other tools and vice
Put on
versa.
some oven mitts for a little while.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I was like, I like that.
I like it.
I like it.
But one of my favorite episodes we've ever done, which is cool. I don't often feel that way. Normally I feel like, what did we just talk about? Does anybody care? Does anybody listen? No one cares and no one listens and we're wasting our time and life is meaningless. Sometimes I go down that rabbit hole. But then other times
I'd
I'm
like to go, no, you don't, except I know that that's very real sometimes. So
and then there are other times where I'm like, that was actually pretty good.
we
I
did it.
think. Was it? Maybe. I don't know.
Are we in the Matrix?
Is this okay? But thank you for commenting. That actually makes me go down that rabbit hole a lot less. Seeing the views and the listens does too, but like when I know that something hits home, that does help for sure.
Yes.
I can see Kelsey in the basement, in the attic. We live next door to Brooke and Brooke's brother Taylor and their family, and we're in the attic, and their attic is finished, and I can see it.
Nice.
So very
Attic
distracted. Attic update. Attic update. What's up there? Attic update. Kelsey today. And not my best. So thank you for commenting and joining the conversation there. We'll link the YouTube, whether you're a listener or a watcher. YouTube is the place to engage because you can comment on episode specific. So we'll link that in the podcast notes if you're just a listener. Next week, we're going to do a question and answer episode, which we haven't done in a while. So if you have questions, go to the YouTube, go to this YouTube, this episode, Fruits of the Spirit, and comment with your question. You can also comment on the episode, but then maybe add a question, and we'll go through those questions next week. Sound pretty good?
I like that.
Sounds great. And subscribe while you're there, because that's cool too.
Smash that subscribe button.
Yo, bro, new merch dropping soon. Smash that subscribe button, link in bio. Turn on the bell for notifications. It's going to be wild. Wild. Welcome to Laxley's YouTube.
Oh, no.
Sorry, I can't.
I don't think Laxley and I would be friends.
I think you would.
You think?
Yeah, I think you'd love him.
Would I?
I think so. I feel off today. Full disclosure.
I can tell. Shake it out.
Weirder.
Weirder.
I think I'm exhausted because I went on a run before the podcast.
Yeah, maybe that wasn't
not
a
a great idea. It did allow me to think about some things, but I feel like my body is just shutting down.
You might live up here now.
I think I do, which is nice.
You can wave at Kelsey.
Yeah.
I'll be downstairs, but you can just...
Hey, Kelsey, tell Brooke I'm hungry.
Throw me a burrito through the window. I have thrown things. Amazing.
So no new songs on the regular Song of the Week playlist, but 2 new ones to the Worship Song of the Week playlist.
Wow.
Ways by Sean Curran and You've Done the Rest by Judah and John Carrera. Judah's album's coming out soon. 7 songs. One with, what's her name?
Amanda Lindsay Cook.
Amanda Lindsay Cook,
Also
aka
known as
Falcon.
Falcon. We're there now.
Which is so cool. So I thought we would start this sort of concept idea, I don't know, this month, that the last episode that we record of the month, which it's actually going to come out in February.
But we will
We record, this is
in
the last one
January.
we're recording in January. We do the Mount Rushmore of the previous month.
Ooh, okay.
And then that way, at the end of the year, we'll actually
Maybe
remember
we remember some things.
some things that happen.
Cool.
So that'll be fun. So this is the Mount Rushmore. Ooh, I have an idea. Hold on. Ready?
Okay.
Mount Rushmore. Did you think that sounded cool?
No.
Oh, okay. Of mountains of January 2021 highlights. I'm free. Zzz. I'm free again. Updates. He's a windrunner. Furthermore, you wouldn't get it. No comment from Becca about
Hannah.
Jebecca? Jebecca didn't let me know if we were starting that podcast or not in the comments, so I'm a little disappointed. So my Mount Rushmore of 2021, January 2021, was the recalibration of being off social media. I feel like that is the term that I would use. Recalibrate. It wasn't like this. It was a lot of things, but that would be like the most concise way of describing it.
Yeah.
Sunny turning 3.
Yeah.
Our little Sunny Kaboo turned 3. If we never told the story about Sunny Kaboo, one time June was on our bed with her, and she was like little.
Sunny
like
was probably
month,
not even
2 months, 3 months,
2
somewhere in
months.
there. And I feel like you discovered this.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell the story or no?
I mean, I don't remember the specifics of it now, but
I just feel like you asked her a question. You're like, "Oh, it's my sister, Sunny Kaboo,"
yeah,
and you
she
were
just
like,
said it.
and you're like, "Wait, what?" And she's like, "Yeah, that's what I call her."
That's what I call her.
And we're
Sunny
like,
Kaboo.
and so it's stuck, and it has like sort of I'm like Sunny Kaboo,
Oh, like
and
kaboom,
that
like Duke
fits-
Kaboom.
and that fits her personality. Sunny Kaboo. So she turned 3. That was another one. The reworked basement. So we reworked our basement to make it more of a playroom. We got rid of our giant couch that was down there that we rarely ever used.
It's a sectional. I love that you call it a giant couch.
Well, yeah, it was big.
No, I know, but we tend to do that.
It
with
wasn't
things.
It wasn't a
We
couch
call
for
things-
giants. It
It was a giant table. It was a giant whatever. It's just our description for things, and I find it funny.
Well, it was a big couch, big sectional couch, a black
Yeah.
sectional IKEA mom couch.
Mom, hey, no, there's no couch in the mom line. Get with it.
Don't let me get my eyes on that
A
mom
mom
collection. Want it? And I can't afford it. So we really
Actually, there might be a mom couch.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't
yeah,
think so.
no one knows. IKEA's out of stock.
I think we say that the last like 8 weeks somehow.
So we reworked the basement, added a swing for the kids in the basement, added a piece of carpet and some padding so they wouldn't crack their skulls open. And then we
That's why I need my Antsy Pants tumbling mat.
exactly.
Still not
And
here.
then we got rid of the ginormous couch, and then went to the West Elm outlet, obviously outlet, and bought a chair and a half, which is now our snuggle chair that we watch snuggle / owning noobs chair.
Yeah.
So snuggling and gaming, that section has been made much, much smaller in the
Yes.
basement. And it's been good. And that was another one.
Yep.
And then, so Taylor, we gifted Taylor a spot in the integrated group that I am in.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited about that. That was like definitely one of the highlights.
Yeah.
It was your idea.
It almost went on my
It
list.
was your
but
idea to give the gift, which is like kind of, I'm not going to say it bothers me, but I like being better at giving gifts.
And
you
normally you are.
and you beat me. And
Yeah.
it's fine. I'm fine with it.
I live in the attic
Obviously,
now, but I'm fine.
I'm fine, but it is definitely a highlight.
Yeah.
And we go to Austin in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Together.
Yep.
And Taylor hasn't traveled in a long time, and so like I'm excited for him. I'm excited because he's so funny and like he's so fun to hang out with. And I don't get
We're often
we're
not
often-
in scenarios where like we can be fun adults.
yeah.
It's
like
usually the four of us with a bunch of kids in
Yeah.
our backyard.
yeah.
And not that we're not fun.
No,
then,
but it's just like
it's
harder.
different. It's very different.
And I'm just like, I know how I interact with groups like that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like so curious to see the side of Taylor that I
Don't really get to see.
maybe have never seen.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
I
And-
hope it connects deeply with the anime side of him.
Oh, yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Yikes. So those are my top 4. recalibration, being off social media, Sunday turning 3, rework basement, Taylor joining integrated.
Yeah. Boom.
Yours, babe.
Mine would be that I
Hit
went
me with those highlights.
Florida. My Florida trip was great.
Just the state of Florida.
Well, I went for that beauty. I've already talked about it. Sonny's birthday, making the basement a playroom, and something we are working on.
You actually typed it out, and I got a little nervous.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to read that.
Wow. Don't zoom in.
Just guys, don't read our notes.
A new product.
We saw a picture of a prototype
of a product that
that's good.
That
That's
we
all
invented.
you need to know. Yeah, I mean, that makes it sound like it's some science experiment, but I guess
does it?
everybody invents something the first time.
But it's going to be awesome. And
So, like, would you say that someone invented a sweatshirt?
yes. Yeah, James Sweatshirt. James B. Sweatshirton.
James, we called him Sweaty, for short.
James was like, my arms are cold.
But I'm sweaty. Ooh, a sweat shirt. Riveting.
No strong feelings this week. That item is blank. I feel like I had one and I told you.
You did. I feel like you were in the kitchen and there was fire. Not real fire in the kitchen, but fire within.
Sunny Rage Fire.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what
I
it
can't
was.
think of it. So that's obviously good. I feel better about myself when the strong feelings are blank because it's like, okay, I don't live in this perpetual
rage all
state
the
of
time.
rage. So that's good.
That's good. That is good.
Some people I think would have strong feelings every day, all day.
Yeah.
So the next segment.
It's like if you're typing
What I Googled. Ding! Searching.
rainbow wheel spinning.
The
spinning,
internet.
spinning.
Reset the router. Reset the router. Mom, our show stopped. Dad's resetting the router.
Longest intro ever. Be patient. Did you unplug it? Or just press the button?
Try blowing on it. Do you need a toothpick? So what I
Googled this week.
You want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
I feel like before we get started, I feel like this is a easier way for us to remember our week than
100%.
actually when I'm like, hey, Brooke, how was your week? What'd you do this week?
Oh my God, I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
And when you're like, Google, you're like, oh, that's not true.
That is what I did this week.
These are the problems I was trying to solve.
Yes. Matthew McConaughey married? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. I had no idea
Yeah.
that he was married and has children. And I just finished his book.
Well, is he married or is he?
He is married now.
Now, but he's been
With the same person almost like as long as we've been
Yeah.
married.
McConaughey.
Yeah.
Brooke has a soft spot for Matthew McConaughey.
Apparently, I didn't know that I did.
Yeah.
I do now after listening to his book.
Which I just started and
Yeah.
I'm like 40 seconds in. I'm like, I
Like
like
it.
I like it.
So anyway, I had no idea
Yep.
that he was married, and I did not see that's like I didn't think, oh, eventually in the book he'll get to that part of his life. Like,
Yeah.
so it caught me by surprise while
Yeah.
listening that those chapters happened. And
I'm also surprised that he's 50.
Yeah,
He looks great.
he does look great.
I mean, he's got a lot of money, so I'm sure that
Right.
helps.
He's been putting lotion on his face for a long time.
One of my favorite memes of all time is like pictures of like the Kardashians young and then now.
Yeah.
And like Rihanna young and now and like
just like
yeah, and it's like
not
you're not
rich versus rich.
It's like you're not ugly, you're just
Poor. Oh, there's some truth to that. So Matthew McConaughey married, HelloFresh zucchini fries.
Okay.
So we used to get HelloFresh boxes when Sonny was younger pretty frequently.
Because we did sponsorship with them.
Right. So sometimes they'd send them to us. A couple times we just bought them because they're so wonderful and helpful and amazing.
Especially when you have a new baby.
Yes, because I still want to eat good food and I don't mind making dinner, but I don't want to have to think about it.
Yeah.
And so that's what
Yeah. You're
is
like,
eliminated.
hello.
This is fresh. Yeah. One of the things I loved from a box we got a long time ago was the zucchini fry recipe.
Yep.
And I make it all the time. I usually don't read the recipe because I've been making it so often. And I just felt like I should reread it.
Yeah.
The bake time. I was like,
Like,
maybe I'm not doing this right.
No, if I'm supposed to dump heavy cream on these.
Yeah.
Why am I doing that?
No, it's mayonnaise. So I Googled that. It's excellent and you should try them. I have a lot of Googling of recipes this week.
Okay.
Sally's baking addiction sugar cookie recipe.
Don't get me started on Sally's Bake Addiction. I can't. I love it and I can't afford it.
We need that one. It's the best sugar cookie recipe. And I was making cookies for Sonny's birthday party.
Sally could use a little more charisma in her videos. That's all I'm going to say. You know, Sally, you're a great baker.
I think she's reading a script, like a
I
script.
don't know if Sally's a human or a robot.
Either way,
okay.
her cookies are delicious. So, I Googled that. And then I Googled the Chunky Chef Sloppy Joe recipe. Because
Delicious. We had sloppy joes last night.
It's the best one.
Is she called the Chunky Chef?
It's hard to say.
Chunky Chef.
The Chunky Chef is her website.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know any of these people.
Yeah.
I find them on Pinterest, and then I don't want to go back through Pinterest to find what I need. I just remember the name of the website.
Yeah, it's nice.
Of
Because you can't remember where a lot of things are, but you can remember Sally's Baking Addiction.
Yeah.
Hello. Welcome to Sally's Baking Addiction.
Oh, it wasn't that bad. Oh.
I could tell. Maybe she's gotten better. Maybe that's an old recipe. And
I mean, it is.
Yeah. But it's one of the best.
It is.
We're there for the baking. We're not there for the videos.
Right.
But step one is always watch the video.
No, that was for the icing.
Oh, okay.
Not the cookie dough.
Okay. All right.
That did make me chuckle.
Yeah.
Step 1, watch the video above. I was like, what if I don't want to? Just tell me what step 1 is.
I haven't turned my sound on my phone in 6 years. I don't want to watch it.
There's some truth to that.
Okay, so here's what I Googled. Next book in the Red Rising series. So if you haven't read the Red Rising series, if you like Rhythm of War, if you like The Way of Kings, if you like The Name of the Wind.
See, I haven't read any of those, but I have read the first Red Rising.
Yeah, Red Rising is an excellent series. First 3 books just follow one character, and then he's like, and you thought he was done. Here's the thing. He said it was a trilogy. He thought he was done, and then all of a sudden, boom, here's a 4th book. New characters that you're following. You're like, this is amazing. They're characters from the 3.
Okay.
But it's like every chapter is a different person's perspective. So
Nice.
good. 4 and 5. So I want to know when 6 was coming out. He's writing it. That's what I found out.
Got it.
So
is he in a cabin in the woods writing?
he did. It was sort of like that. Like
Okay.
I'll be back later. I'm writing this book. Next thing I Googled was Bucks Packers game. I didn't know where it was or what it was on, so I needed to find information. The Buccaneers are going to the Super Bowl. The first ever Super Bowl team to be playing at their home stadium in the Super Bowl.
Ever.
It's crazy. And Tom Brady's like 118 years old, and he's going to win.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. He looks younger. Again, you're not ugly. You're just bored.
That really gets you. That gets you in the giggle box, doesn't it? I wonder how much more beautiful we'd be if we had a lot of money.
That's what I think about all the time. Like, man, Tom looks great. I look terrible.
Good. I'm glad you're comparing yourself to him. That seems like
it seems good. Apple Music showing on my iOS screen time. So
yeah, that's annoying.
Oh, here's a strong feeling.
Maybe that was it.
Yeah. So I haven't been on my phone very much because we're not on social media, and that's probably the primary thing that I use on my phone.
Yeah.
So I'm like expecting like this low screen time to make myself feel good about myself,
Yeah.
because that's what I want. I want to feel good about myself. I don't want to actually change. I just want to feel good that maybe I am better.
So you're thinking what? Like,
I'm thinking I'm not ugly. I'm just bored.
right. You just want confirmation of that, right?
And for whatever reason,
You want like 28 minutes.
yeah, because that's probably what it is,
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, since the last iOS update, Apple Music is showing up as part of your screen time, even if you're just listening to music.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like I'm open reading the lyrics and then like my phone is on. And I listen to a lot
you're
of,
not.
well, sometimes I do, but I listen to a lot of music. So my screen time seems like higher than it normally is.
Yeah.
And it's just on. And so, but one person asked the question on like an Apple community board.
Yeah.
And it was like, screen time's a great tool. Head to this website to learn more. I'm like, that's not what he's
Step
asking.
1, watch the video. No, Sally.
Sally also works for Apple as part of their community members. This was not a Google search, but this was a Creative Market search. Creative Market's like a online platform to buy like
Graphics,
fonts,
photos,
all this kind of stuff.
illustrations.
Vintage dragons.
Ooh,
So-
you searched vintage dragons.
Search vintage dragons. I think it's about time for some Swamp Dragon merch. End of story.
Yeah.
Get ready. People get ready. The dragons are
I
coming.
don't think you're ready.
Oh, see, I was going a different way. I was going to a worship song. So, but
Sorry.
that just
I don't think you're ready for this.
people get ready. Swamp Dragon merch is coming. Order of movies for the Pixar theory. So I watched
Right.
one.
Okay, if people don't know what that is,
The Pixar theory.
Is it
now
theory?
Pearl is in the window.
can you see her?
Yeah.
She's like
Um,
waving.
So The Pixar theory is that all the movies within the Pixar universe are all in the
Connected.
same universe. And it starts again. I'm not like an expert on it, but it like starts with the dinosaur one, and then
The Good Dinosaur.
and then it goes all the way through like the normal ones, and then between Wall-E or between when By and Large takes over, Cars take over, and they're like in between there, and they're like AI, and then Wall-E comes back with the humans,
Right.
and then they evolve into monsters because of the radiation, and
Yeah.
then Boo is actually the witch from Brave,
Yeah.
which is why she's obsessed with bears, because she's trying to travel through portals to find
Yeah.
Sully again.
Right.
That-
It's kind of crazy,
It is
but
kind
it is
of-
enjoyable
It
to
is
watch.
enjoyable to kind of, but I don't know why I Googled this. I think I was just
No, you were the new movie, the Soul movie.
Yeah, I was, and because now I get, because I watch one video on it, now I get targeted on YouTube. Like, it's like, you may also enjoy, and there's these guys, the Super Carlin brothers.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's just one guy, unless they're twins and they really look identical. Wow.
Wow.
Now I have
Well,
a whole
maybe
nother-
Sally and Sally's robot look identical.
I have a whole
Bless her. You just don't know
new
which
theory.
one's on screen.
I think Onward throws a wrench in the theory.
Yeah, except that
They say that it's like just part of a different world, and one of the
Within-
planes crashed there. One of the By and Large.
planes looks like the mountain in
Yeah.
the background.
So it's
I don't know.
it's
I don't know.
but it's fun,
It is fun.
and
None of it matters.
None of
so.
it matters, but it's fun.
But
Then
none of that matters.
so none of that matters. Then I Googled Brandon Sanderson movies.
You love him.
I love him.
You love BS.
Yep. Starlight. That's the book I'm on right now. And then Octonauts names. We were at my.
You didn't know their name?
Well, we were at my parents' house, and Sonny was playing with my parents have an Octonauts toy.
Yeah.
And I was like, that one's Quasi, that one's Sushi or something. I
Peso.
couldn't- Peso. And then I couldn't remember the captain.
Captain Barnacle.
Captain Barnacles, yeah.
Yeah.
So I had to Google him.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have Netflix anymore, so it's
I know.
not like
It's a
we're,
great show.
we're getting refreshed on the names every time. And then
Creature
the
report.
last thing,
Creature report.
Creature report. Squids are really slimy.
I don't think they.
They've got lots of arms and ink. Man, I should have been a songwriter. And then the last thing I Googled was streaming on an Xbox. There's part of me, deep in my soul, that wants to be a streamer. And I don't know why. That's a new thing.
Yeah.
But I love playing Apex Legends. Season 8 comes out soon. No big deal. Not excited
Can I
about
just
it.
craft in the background?
That would actually, I think that would bring in a lot of users. A lot of streamers.
Yeah.
A lot of stream views. I
Be
felt
like,
this
and his wife scrapbooks in the background.
scrapbook and streaming.
I don't know. There
First,
could be
watch this
something there.
video. I'm going hard after Sally today.
I know. She's great. I love her.
This is one of her
I
favorite
hope
websites.
she listens. Sally, if you're here,
We love you.
and your cookies.
So that's what I Googled. Brooke, how was your week?
It was good. I now know what I did. We had a birthday party.
We did.
I decorated. I made cookies. I made cupcakes. I made all the fun things for that.
We did take some photos, so we'll post those to Instagram when we're back.
I did. I was like, Brooke, take photos. You will be back someday.
The
And you'll
coolest-
want to remember this. She's your child.
Yeah. The
Oh,
coolest
yeah,
thing about the
okay.
birthday was that Sunny seemed to actually enjoy it.
She got it,
She
kind
got
of.
it, and she was excited, and she wasn't ragey, which was always an improvement. We cut the nap. We cut Sunny's nap finally,
In like
And-
the last week.
and that has been a huge help. I mean, there's a point between 6 and 7 p.m. where we're like, we're not going to make it. Life is over, and I think I live in the attic now. But once we push that, it's made bedtime easier. It's made just parts of the day
Yeah,
easier.
she falls asleep faster once she's down.
And so, but she really enjoyed her birthday party, and now she just keeps asking about all birthday parties because a weekend before hers was Yaya's, my mom's, and we went to that.
Mhm.
June's is coming up, and so she's
Goldie's is coming up.
so all she wants to do is know about birthdays.
Yeah.
And she's always like, "Is it my birthday?" We're like, "Oh, it's a long way
Yours is
away."
the furthest away,
Yeah.
honey.
Just happened. That's how the year works. And then we also shipped 170 of 200 boxes. So you have 200 boxes. What happens when 170 go out?
You hopefully have
First,
30-ish
TJ
left.
acts without gentleness and a little bit of rage about the scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Then he feels guilty about it and he apologizes for it.
Yeah.
So after that happens, then he gets to work.
Yeah.
and then we get 170 out.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my bad.
It was good.
Still being refined.
It's your one flaw, babe.
I only have one. And it's that one. And I'm not perfect. I'm not ugly. I'm just
Should I print that out for you, or
so
should we hang that above our bed? We're not ugly. We're just poor.
Oh, God.
I guarantee there's like a whole Instagram account of like the comparisons.
It's so good. Okay. So this is the last podcast before we're coming back on social media. We've been off 27 days.
It does not feel like that long.
Yeah, it doesn't feel that long. And let me run you through a little bit of my headspace right now. So I woke up this morning sort of feeling like, man, it's almost over. Feeling kind of sad about that.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to go back. Now, let me balance that out by saying I love our job. I love that we have the community we have on social media. I love all of those aspects of it. But there is part of it that it is draining.
It's like, yeah, I mean, I know you feel the need to self-balance,
Yeah.
and so do I right now. But, kids are wonderful. They're all good things. You should have them. You should have more, blah, blah, blah. But they drive me nuts. And so, like, it can be, it's
like, but they drive me nuts.
all kinds of nuts. Yeah. So that's an example of like where something is really, really good,
so
but you can still think things about it.
So I told Brooke that this morning. I said, I'm actually kind of mourning having to jump back on. And so I went on a run, and during the run, I went all the way from we're never getting on social media again to.
Is that where you started off? You're
so
like only like a block
first
and a half
I
away from
start
the
off.
house?
Well, let me. So I have to turn on my watch so I get credit.
Right.
Because otherwise,
I don't do anything if I don't have my watch on anymore. Like right now.
I will not leave the attic until TJ gets my watch and brings.
No, that's a whole flight of stairs.
Speaking of watches, Brooks has so much trouble closing her exercise ring, and so
any of my rings.
So the joke now is that her heart rate is always too low.
It thinks I'm dead. I have a very low, just like normal resting heart rate, because there are days where I do as much general walking around as you, if not more, and I still don't close some of my rings.
Great job, because lightning bolt circle.
Yeah. And mine's like, don't give up. Keep trying. You could get 1 out of 7 this week.
Are you alive? So my run starts off with, why am I doing this? And then I look at the watch.
Why am I running?
Yeah. Why am I doing this? And then I look at the watch and I go, oh, for credit. I want to feel good about myself.
Right.
And
I don't want to change. I just want my watch to know.
I just want my watch to give me credit that I think I deserve.
Just don't count it as screen time.
I don't run for that long. I'm not that worried about it. And I also don't want to feel like I'm dying when we play on the Swamp Dragon soccer field, which is sometimes how I feel.
Yeah.
And fitness is good for you, all that kind of stuff. It's good for me to get my energy out. Anyways, so I'm on my run. I'm thinking about like this sort of short conversation we had right before about like, I don't want to go back to social media. And not, again,
right.
Imagine me all the self-balancing things. Okay. So I find myself just like so enjoying the lack of noise and to-dos in my life, fully knowing that if we don't get back and don't do those to-dos, we probably won't make a living.
Right.
Like I understand that there is part of it that is needed.
Yeah.
But it's just been like last year, it was like I was kind of excited to get back because it was like that we did that challenge and that was great. And like now we're going back. And like this year, I feel like this was great. This was really, really great. I don't know if I want to leave this season.
I wish I could have more of this.
Yeah. And so I definitely think there's going to be an addition partway through the year sometime. It's also bleak right now. Like the weather is cold and there's nothing green and, so like
it's January in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. So there's no desire for me to be like, I want to go out and take a bunch of pictures and share all these stories. Cause like, we're not really doing anything. It's too cold to do anything. And so I also feel a little bit of that.
It gets dark super soon.
Yeah. And, and but I think the chair behind all of that is I know that when we come back, I have to re-engage with part of my life I've been able to rest from.
Yeah.
And to me, it's always, it's strongly agree, strongly disagree. And so I find myself being like, I don't want to engage at all. I'll just cut that out of my life.
Yeah.
Which is not ideal and not healthy.
Right.
And so during my run, I was like, we're never going back. We'll go back 2 weeks before we launch t-shirts and that'll be it. Maybe we'll go back a month before. Okay, maybe. And this whole time.
To like, oh, we'll be back February because.
But because this whole time in January, we've actually been establishing more of a plan for our year as from a business side than we ever have. And so I think there's part of me that's like scared to kind of step into that plan, because what if that plan doesn't work? Then I'm a failure, and I could have just stayed away from even trying that plan by saying we're not coming back. So there's like
which is the whole. What's that quote you love about being in the ring?
Yeah, from Teddy Roosevelt. Like you have to show up in the arena. And that, that's more noble than just critiquing the arena, which is what so many people do. And so.
And why you love Ratatouille.
Yes.
Where does that fit into the.
It's just in the regular world.
Oh, it's just in there.
Yeah.
Rats can talk.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just part of it.
Got it.
So I just feel like I don't know. That's just where I am.
Yeah. I want to be back.
Yes.
And don't want to be back at the same time.
Yeah.
Which I recognize is impossible.
But I think what we've done is we've come up with like a plan and a rhythm for social media, and the recalibration has kind of helped me feel like, okay, let's put that plan into action. Let's give it some legs. Let's see if it works. Let's see if it brings us to a healthy space, and fully knowing that like our family weekly rhythm, like we've adjusted that as we've gone, and that's okay. And like,
well, it was that book.
Recalibrate that. Yeah.
The digital minimalism book, which gives you the concept and the idea of any technology in your life.
Yeah.
We're speaking specifically about a phone and specifically about Instagram, but like you need to determine in your life, and we did this a little bit like personally, what our mission statement is, for lack of a better word, about what our phones are. But then we're like, oh, but we need it for business. Blanket statement.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like what we're doing now is sort of refining the, no, it is for business.
But it's for these specific aspects.
Yes, exactly. And I feel good about it.
So let me just say this though. You are the reason we are excited to come back.
Oh, 1,000,000%.
Interacting with you, getting
and accounts like,
yes,
I'm not poor. No, wait, I am poor. I'm not ugly, I'm poor.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Wait, I am poor.
Oh, wait, this doesn't make any sense.
Are you saying see the world or see world?
I'm not sure.
So we'll be back by the time this episode goes live, and we're gonna step into our rhythm.
No, just kidding. That sounds intense.
Don't get me going on that. So yeah, any other thoughts on being off and coming back and all the things?
No, I'm.
You weren't running.
I was not running.
Okay.
I took a shower. I do think in there too, and I think, why am I doing this? My watch isn't even counting this. I took it off because I don't believe them when they say that it's waterproof. So I take it off. I don't
trust you, Phyllis.
I don't trust you, Phyllis, so I'm going to take it off just to be safe. But I don't know. I am excited to be back. Yeah. I guess I'm worried that at some point I won't be. And then I'm like, oh, you should have known, Brooke. Yeah. Because that's how I feel about all things in life.
Yeah.
You should have known.
And it's
it's
unfortunate to me now that like culture is so negative, and that's part of the reason. And so loud, and that's part of the reason it's like, oh, do I want it?
I mean, literally, your face is perfect for like. I feel like I have to back away from the things I read.
And it's like, but that's also where I then feel on the flip side of that encouraged to be like, well, that we need
to combat that.
Yeah, combat that with some fruits of the spirit, which is what we're getting into. Segue, booyah. Segway.
If this
a cliff.
What? Are we the ones falling into Mount Rushmore on segways?
No, but do you know that's how the founder of Segway died?
No.
Yeah, he segued off of he was like testing a
this is going to be in my Google search next week.
He was testing like an off-road Segway and fell off a cliff and died.
For real.
For real. The founder, the creator
Not
of Segway.
Not into Mount Rushmore.
No, no, this is a real story. And Segway is like almost completely out of business. Like they almost don't exist. But
there's like those
scooter things.
What does Cody have? That like wheel thing?
Yeah, the one wheel. But like even when you're in a city, there's like the Lime scooters and all that kind of stuff to get around.
Bird.
Yeah, Bird's another one. Segway was supposed to change the way that cities were designed. Like that was how high the bar was set for this new product. And it bombed. And then tragedy.
Yeah. clearly higher than the fences on the edge of the.
Wow, this got dark real quick. Okay, so today we're going to talk about fruits of the Spirit.
Oh, it's not funny.
Now I don't know how to segue.
Oh.
So I'm going to read the verse that the fruits of the Spirit come from. I'm going to read a longer version of it, and then we're going to go into our conversation. Reading is hard, so I apologize already.
You just slow it down.
Galatians 5:16 through 26. So I say, walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. For the flesh desires what is contrary to the Spirit, and the Spirit what is contrary to the flesh. They are in conflict with each other, so that you are not to do whatever you want. But if you are led by the Spirit, you are not under the law. The acts of the flesh are obvious: sexual immorality, impurity and debauchery, idolatry and witchcraft, hatred, discord, jealousy, fits of rage, selfish ambition, dissension, factions, envy, drunkenness, orgies, and the like. I warn you, as I did before, that those who will live like this will not inherit the kingdom of God. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such thing there is no law. Those who belong to Christ Jesus have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires. Since we live by the Spirit, let us keep in step with the Spirit. Let us not become conceited, provoking, and envying each other. That's pretty good. I mean, the verse is amazing. I was mostly talking about my reading.
Oh, no, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Also the Bible. Pretty good.
Yeah, and Bible.
Yeah.
Pretty good. 5 stars. So the reason we're talking about this today is like I've really been kind of thinking about the fruits of the Spirit a lot. Like just that, like if we've been given the Holy Spirit by Jesus, by God, and there's a phrase that Nathan Finocchio says all the time that I tried to find, but I couldn't find it. It's like, he basically says like, you know, you get baptized in the Spirit, you get the Spirit of God, and then it's like a constant refreshing. And he has like a really concise way of saying it, like that, like, you know, and we have these moments where like we're worshiping, we just like feel like the Spirit of God doesn't leave us and then come back, but sometimes I feel like it gets reinvigorated or refreshed.
Yeah.
And so I think that there are times when the fruits of the Spirit don't feel there. Like we just feel like we're in this like kind of like slow season or whatever. And that can be for a lot of reasons. I don't know where I was going with that.
but that's true. Yeah. I think you were just saying that like they're not gone.
Yeah.
But
and so
they might not feel very present.
And so the reason I've been thinking about the fruits of the Spirit a lot is because like I feel like as Christians, and this is I think something that I heard from Francis Chan one time where he talked about how like he was friends with this elderly couple who had been walking with Jesus their whole lives. And he just felt like they were as close to being like Jesus than anyone he's ever met at the end of their lives. And he was talking about how like that's how it should be. Like as we mature in the faith, as we mature in our relationship, as our roots grow deeper, the fruit should be more abundant and more prevalent. Unfortunately, I don't feel like that is often the example that we get, which is really, really frustrating from the Christian perspective, that like you see a lot of curmudgeonly Christians in life and on the internet and out there, and you're like, no, you should be better at this than I am because you have been walking with the Lord longer.
Most likely.
Most likely.
Yeah.
And like, you know, just the same when someone's been married 50 years, you're like, you should be pretty good at this.
Yeah, hopefully you have more to say about it than I do.
Yeah. And I don't feel like that's often the case. I feel like fruit dries and shrivels up. But again, that's a metaphor. The fruit is still there because the Spirit of God is still refreshing. That's kind of what I was trying to say at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of reasons for the fruit of the Spirit not being so prevalent. Like I think we have gotten into seasons of stormy weather and our fruit just doesn't feel like it's growing very well. Some people don't plant their tree around others and they plant it in isolation, which I think is a real strong reason why fruit isn't as prevalent, because if your tree is isolated, you know, there's no protection to it. You know, the
well, not to get like all weird about trees, but
let's do it.
Let's do it. We're here. Is this today the day?
I like it.
I mean, trees literally need each other like to pollinate. I mean, that's like fruit trees specifically.
Yeah.
That's why they're planted in orchards and they're all together. Ones, you can pick them all at the same time and not walk miles between each tree. But like, that's exactly what the bees are doing when they're flying around. And so that's a good visual for me to picture myself being part of a tree that's part of a community versus like out there alone.
We we don't water our tree. Big reason that it might not be bearing a lot of fruit. And so I just feel like, hold on, my notes got out of order.
Oh, yeah, you had like don't water it or don't protect it.
Yeah. And so that's kind of the reason I wanted to talk about this today, was just like the fruits of the Spirit, I feel like, are so valuable and so foundational. And I think that they are such a gigantic representation of Jesus changing your life. Like if you're bearing that fruit. And I don't feel like a lot of times Christians are bearing a lot of fruit, and that frustrates me. And there's part of me that's like the challenger that's like, let's start bearing more fruit, people.
Yeah. Kaboom. Yeah.
And so my hope is that while we talk about this day, it's an encouragement to you to, like, you know, and again, there's a bunch of quotes that I was reading because I think that helps me focus, is like if I just search quotes on a topic, because I'm like, someone has said it more concisely than I'll ever try to say it, which is on firm display right now today. But it was like, you know, let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Sorry.
You're good.
So Dietrich Bonhoeffer said, fruit is always the miraculous, the created. It is never the result of willing, but always a growth. The fruit of the Spirit is a gift of God, and only He can produce it. They who bear it know as little about it as the tree knows of its fruit. They know only the power of Him on whom their life depends. And so I want to make it clear that, like, we're not talking about like you're going to bear more fruit if you just try a little bit harder.
Right.
I think there's an element, faith without works is, you know, like you need to be
effort.
engaged and give some effort, but like Jesus is the reason that we have fruit in the first place. And so I just want to make sure that that's clear.
Yeah.
We are going to talk about maybe some ways that would help. I don't know. But today isn't really a day that we're going to talk about protecting your tree. We're just going to talk about fruits of the Spirit, some of the things we think about them. And then I think we're going to go through those quotes that I got and just like kind of see if they
spark something. Your hands.
I'm feeling weird today. I think it was the run. I think I'm dying. So first of all, I believe, and we talk about this before in other areas of life, I believe that all of us are naturally gifted in certain ways. And so I think the fruits of the Spirit are just a extension of some of those natural giftings. And so some of us have the ability to access, like if I picture a tree, some of us have like for Brooke, for example, Brooke is peaceful. Well, internal peace, I don't know. Brooke is gentle in her approach to almost anything. You rarely see Brooke coming in with a hammer to demolish.
I probably can't find my hammer.
And so I feel like if the visual would be like if Brooke is put in a situation, she can pluck that gentle fruit, and
it's more easily within my reach.
Yes, almost all the time in all situations. And so for me, like joy is usually an easy fruit that I can pluck and like,
you're already eating it.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah. It's delicious.
At all times.
And I've already cut up some pieces for everybody. So I do think that there are some natural tendencies that we have, some natural giftings that we've been given that make that fruit more abundant. And then there are on the other side of that, there are fruits. Well, let me talk about that first a little bit. I do think that there can be kind of a two sides of the coin with the natural fruit that you have. One is that, like, you know, I can choose joy in all situations, but I often struggle with some of the deeper, harder relationships, emotions. And so I might not be as gentle when someone's giving me hard news, because I might want to just be like, here, try this joy fruit, smash in your face. And like,
so delicious.
Yeah, so delicious. You'll be fine. And there isn't a lot of gentleness.
You'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'm allergic. No, you're
No,
not.
you're not. You'll love it. You know, maybe not a lot of kindness in that. And so there is an element where, like, while we do have natural giftings and we do have things that we're naturally good at, I think at times if we depend too much on those, we can start using them for our own gain and not for the glory of the Lord.
Right. Like, oh, well, it's pretty easy for me to be patient and this and that. So that's all I'm going to do.
Yeah. And so, you know, the fruits of the Spirit, like, they're all there for us, and we should be accessing all of them often.
Yeah.
And then I feel like there's a large part of people, and you've probably had conversations like this, where people think like, where people will say something like, I'm not patient.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not patient.
Yeah. You know, that drives me nuts.
Yeah. Okay. End of story.
Right.
Like forever, for all of time,
Right.
in all situations.
Yeah.
Which really is frustrating from a Christian perspective, because in Acts, Peter said to them, repent and be baptized, every one of you, in the name of Jesus Christ for the forgiveness of your sins, and you will receive the gift of the Holy Spirit. It doesn't say some of the gifts or partially of the gifts. It's not like, you're like, oh, well, yeah, Brooke, you're going to get gentleness. We'll give you a little self-control. Patience, we're going to leave out. Touch of joy. And, that's what you're going to get.
Right.
And you over here, you're going to get a bunch of joy, but no self-control. So good luck with that. And you over here, like, that's just not the case. There's no evidence of that in Scripture. But I often sometimes think we justify our bad behavior by that. Like, well, I'm not a very patient person, so I'm never going to be.
And I think there's also an element of just culturally, even if we're not talking about the fruit of the Spirit, like people are in such a habit of saying that about anything. Oh, I never work out. Oh, I don't do this.
Yeah.
I don't do that. I'm not that. I'm not this.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, it's so rarely true that what they're saying is 100% accurate,
Right.
which I'm always like, oh, I don't know about that. I don't think I'd,
Yeah. Some people
claim that belief over yourself.
Right.
I don't know.
And I think sometimes like we can struggle with patience for sure. I mean, we have one of the slowest moving children of all time in all of space. And so there are moments where patience really is not a fruit that we're grabbing right away because she just needs to get in the car and put her seatbelt on. That's all.
The fruit becomes the stress ball.
But it isn't, I don't think as Christians and as believers that we should just abandon all fruit in the name of, well, I don't have that naturally. It's not always there. It's not always ripe.
Yeah.
Because I just don't feel like there's no place in Scripture where it's like, yeah, that's the way you should be.
Right.
I do think that like we should spend more time cultivating our lives so that more fruit can blossom, and that for that, a lot of people, for that's just like getting in the Word of God, studying the Bible, listening to worship music, listening to sermons, being in community, having conversations like this. Because, I'll talk about my own shame. This week, I got frustrated that we were doing these 200 boxes and I was not gentle about it at all. And I was frustrated because I was like, Brooke deserves more credit. And part of it was like me just being like your husband and being like, you should deserve more credit. And you're like, well, I'm not asking for more credit. I'm like, but you should deserve it. You're the best. Like, people should know what you're doing. And hammer, no gentleness at all. And like, I was happy to help, but it was like, and this is an area where I am being refined, and I'm constantly being refined because I come in too hot, a little bit too blunt, and I don't think, like, in my mind, I'm defending Brooke, but in her mind, I'm just attacking her because she's the only one in the room, and and it's a little embarrassing. Like, to be totally honest, I was embarrassed. I actually had to say sorry and ask for forgiveness, but there wasn't part of me that was like, even through the embarrassment and the having to be to eat the humble pie, which is sometimes is also made of fruit. Pie is made of fruit. So I don't know.
I was going to go, which is delicious. Sally'sBakingAddiction.com. Guarantee she's got a great pie recipe.
Yeah, got a great pie. Hey, welcome to my pie recipe.
Step 1, make a pie. Well, okay, that's why I'm here.
And so like, I could have just been like, well, I'm not gentle.
Like you would have told yourself that in your head.
In my head. There's no humility. There's no asking for forgiveness. There's no healing between maybe what I may or may not have said to hurt Brooke's feelings. I did not expect to talk about this. I'm a little embarrassed, but it's fine because that's part of it.
It is.
Humility is going to make you embarrassed.
And honestly, I feel like the conversation about it was very, other than like you coming in hot, I didn't feel very weird about it. And then we had a conversation about that later. Yeah. How like, I can tell we've come so far in just our general communication skills that my insides don't get all tangled up and swirly. Yeah. Because I'm like, we'll be okay.
And I felt like that was a moment where like while that fruit wasn't there, the gentle fruit wasn't there for me to like approach the situation and my feelings about the situation.
It was there. You didn't grab it.
I didn't grab it. It was there.
The fruit is always there.
Yes. Amen to that. Dang it, Brooke. I did not grab it, but now
Jesus has got it with a fishing line like, over your face.
Hello, DJ. It's right here.
Right here.
Hello. Woohoo.
Woo-hoo. Because I'm a blowout.
I I do now acknowledge that I didn't do it well. And so that will prepare me. That helps cultivate the ground a little bit. I think the roots went a little bit deeper because of the conversations that we had. So the fruit can be more abundantly, clearly there for me in those moments. Because it wasn't. And I felt bad and I felt guilty. But we forgave each other. You forgave me. And I didn't have to forgive you. You didn't do anything wrong.
I don't know if we're going to talk about this, but which one or ones, like I feel like for me, I would struggle with patience. See, that's just it though. I look patient on the outside. I'm not on the inside, which is so much of me and my personality and who I am. Like I can appear a lot of these things, but am I really deep down in, or is there a rage fire going on? That's probably what I should work on. More than like, I do all these great, because I know that's not true. Right. Yeah.
I'm patient, rage fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. For me, I think, let me get my list back out.
I know. I went backwards in the notes and now I'm a little confused.
I feel very disorganized right now. I'm apologizing to you and to you listening if it feels that way. Do I sound disorganized?
No.
Okay. This is just like a recalibration moment for me, because I'm like,
hit the refresh button, rainbow wheel, we're back.
Is anyone listening?
Well, right now, no. Okay. No one's listening except me and you.
Yeah. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, and self-control.
Gentleness.
You
literally skip it every time you read it or list them off.
I did really like this quote I found about from Joyce Meyer, who said, "Love and self-control are the bookends of the fruit of the spirit. Remove one remove one of them and the rest fall over." I love that visual.
Yeah.
I love that idea of like, they all fit into here.
Yeah.
Like books do.
Yeah. With bookends.
Let's talk about bookends for a minute. They hold a line of books.
Yes.
In place.
Yes.
And sometimes if you move the bookends,
they're going to tumble.
Yeah. And fall on the floor.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hopefully not on your bare foot.
Yeah, that would be bad. So for me, I feel like I have pretty good self-control.
Yeah, you do.
That's one that I think is underrated and undervalued in culture. It's like, just, do whatever you want, be whoever you want. Like, no rules, no problem. Everyone will be fine just the way they are. I'm like, well, really? Because if you looked at the past 30 years, things are not going well.
Segway's out of business.
Yeah. So
where are we?
Yeah. Where are we? The future of cities is in turmoil. Segway is gone. I'm good at loving some people. I think love is one that I think people are good at,
Well, they think I do that.
Yeah.
I love things.
Yeah.
And then you're like, yeah, the things that are easy to love, probably.
Yeah. Joy is definitely a natural one for me.
Yeah.
I actually do feel like I have a lot of peace about my life now. In the last few years. I just feel like we've made that a priority without really knowing that that's the priority that we were making. And now when I when I think about, like, we ask 2 questions at dinner every night. We ask, what was the highlight of your day?
Mm-hmm.
And were there any hard moments? That's what we call them.
Right.
And Junie's like, my highlight was, playing in my room. I had a hard moment when Sunny wouldn't share, and we're just trying to give our kids language to be able to, if they can tell us about Sunny not sharing, hopefully they can tell us about a kid bullying them or, something more serious down the road. But I rarely have hard moments. When we go through that question, and I'm trying to be honest with our family that, if I did, I talk about them, but I've realized that recently that, like, man, I don't really have a lot of hard moments of my day. I mean, I work hard at times, but I enjoy that.
Yeah.
But there aren't like these hard, and I would say 2-3 years ago, there were a lot of hard moments in my days.
Yeah.
So peace, I feel like, is there.
I also feel like peace, though, could be like, peace is put on us. Like, we are to seek peace.
Yep.
And what's the other verse?
Blessed are the peacemakers.
Yes. Thank you. You know exactly which one I meant.
Right there.
And so while, like, the peace you're talking about is sort of like within our home and within yourself and internal, I also think there's a big picture piece that we are given and we should pursue and put out into the world. And that might not always feel like internal peace.
Yeah.
I don't know. So there's something there.
There might be something there.
Something there.
Something
Maybe
there.
read into it. I don't know. I don't know. Google peace.
Patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Out of all of these, gentleness is the one that I struggle with the most. Probably a little bit of patience as well in certain situations. I kind of want to arrive at where I think I should be.
Yeah.
I often want to be at the next step. And so I struggle being in the mundane moments of life, which I think have extraordinary value. That's especially challenging with children. Like,
Oh yeah.
and
you
so,
can't even move at the speed you want
yeah.
to.
And so there are ways though that I think we've incorporated patience in our lives. And, like for me, I take June to school every day. And this is a way that I'm like practicing patience. I don't rush her to get into the car. My job is basically getting her from the door to the car, drive the car to the school.
Yeah.
Brooke does all the hard stuff. You're amazing.
But I don't have to change out of sweatpants before 8 a.m.
Win-win.
So.
And I sleep in my jeans, so I'm ready to go.
I think you would if you could.
I would.
So weird.
So one way I practice patience is I don't pull up into the drop-off line. I actually park the car. I get out. I walk with June to the front door.
Yeah.
I want her to show that I have the time and the peace and the patience for her in those moments. I ask her as many questions as I can from the car to the door, and this is the only time she answers all of my questions. Yeah. And most of them are fun, like what kind of superpower would you have? Where would you travel? One day I asked her, I forget what I asked her today actually. Was Phoebe there? No. What did I ask her? I asked her if she could travel anywhere on an airplane right now. Where would she go? And she said California. But I feel like I asked her one question before that, and now I'm blanking. But it's just like this practice in peace and patience of like, I have the time.
I am making the time for this.
And this is, and what I was saying is like, it's hard in those mundane moments, but like June will remember my dad used to park the car and walk me to the front door. Every single day he dropped me off to school. That has an extraordinary value in our lives and in her life. And so I want to practice that and have a place for that to have a place for that fruit to flourish.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
What about?
I mean, there's that super like common phrase about, if you pray for patience, the Lord isn't going to give you patience. He's going to give you situations.
He's going to give you children
to be patient in. Yes. Yeah, exactly. And I think that goes for any of them.
Yeah.
If we ask for these things and seek these things, like we will just be given a scenario in which to show up and be these things.
For sure.
Not necessarily like this abundance of stuff. But I do believe that if you take care of yourself and that phrase is meh, but like if you do spend time, reading and in prayer and things like that, I do think that you can, again, it's not on you. It comes from God, but like
that's the tension that we live in.
I know,
Christians.
like you can be more filled up. So the thing you're asking for, you maybe could get more of. Yeah. But you're also still gonna have to show up with it.
Yeah, there is.
I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, like if you're, and here's the crazy thing: like if you're faithful, which is a fruit of the Spirit, your faithfulness will produce more fruit, not because you're faithful, but because God is faithful. And
Ooh, yes.
And so it's like this tension that we live in as believers, where it's like, God, just give us all the things that we want, and He's like, well, you have the access to walk in the Spirit and live by the Spirit. Yeah. And you're like, but it's hard for me. Well, spend more time with me, and you'll have like, So it's this tension, and often I feel like, specifically for me, I land on the other side of that. Where like, it'll come sometime. So I'm just gonna keep going, and I don't often have the like more rigid practices of practicing, spending time with Him so that the fruits are more abundant. Yeah. So there's tension there. Some questions I had are for you, Brooke, but also for the listener, if they want to comment, what fruit is naturally produced in you? What would you say? For me, I would say joy.
Easier to reach. Yeah.
Yeah. Joy, self-control. I would say those two.
Peace, gentleness. I don't know. Again, I tend to go like, well, in specific scenarios, I'm that. Right, but like, am I all the time?
What fruits are you currently working on? Like, working on is, vague phrase, but what fruits do you wish were more abundant or easier to access or whatever, like, in your life? For me, it's gentleness. And
it's probably faithfulness.
That's good. I'd probably put that one on mine too. I didn't say it first, but now I was thinking it.
Right. Because I'm definitely
It's
more
not a
faithful,
competition, but I was thinking that. So.
Right.
When your fruits aren't on display, are you asking forgiveness from those in your life? Like, when I wasn't very gentle, or are you just justifying their lack thereof? And this is more of a question just to ponder. Like,
yeah.
I think we often,
Ponder.
is that your,
Let me think about it.
and I'm done. Yeah, just like in your life, like when you don't when you're not patient, are you then going and asking for forgiveness, whether it's from a spouse or a friend or even your children? I mean, I definitely ask for forgiveness from June and Sunny on a pretty regular basis when I lose my temper or don't have patience or, and that's hard. That's hard to do with a kid.
Yeah.
Because one, they don't totally understand
Right.
it, but I think the practice of it is good.
Yeah.
And, they're not going to understand that you need to ask for forgiveness if they never see it on display.
Yes.
And so then I thought we could read some quotes that I found that were just, really concise ways of people saying things about the fruits of the Spirit and see if they come up with spark anything. There we go. Ugh. Words are hard today for me.
Maybe you're hungry.
Maybe.
Did you go for that run and then not eat anything except drink a venti coffee?
Some may say that. I don't know who,
Right.
but some may say.
Right.
Some may say that was my
Move.
yeah, I don't know. Okay, this one I don't know all these people, so like if I'm quoting someone that's a crazy person, what they said here is good.
Right.
So,
I don't need a message about their segue going off the edge.
Yeah.
Just we're just trying to make a point.
Yeah. If you have no joy, there's a leak in your Christianity somewhere. I love that quote.
Of course you do.
But also strongly agree.
I would strongly agree with that one.
Whoa.
Which means buttons to push and they'd show up on the screen. Who we're voting.
That's from Billy Sunday. I already read the Dietrich Bonhoeffer one. This one's from Jerry Bridges. The fruit of the Spirit is fundamentally relational. Rather than originating with us, it flows to us from the union with Christ, and it flows beyond us to bring us into fellowship with others. The secret of this flow and our unity with God and others is humility. Love that.
That's literally what you just said.
Agree.
Like,
are
you able to approach that like, oh man, I should have been that. I should have done that with humility.
Yeah.
Or are we just like,
it's just me. I'm just a
not
terrible person. Cool. It's fun being your friend. I already read the Joyce Meyer one. This one's from Philip Graham Ryken. The fruit of the Spirit is the natural produce of his gracious inward influence, the spontaneous inevitable result of his unity to Jesus Christ.
Of his uniting.
His uniting us to Jesus Christ. Blah.
Yeah.
Again, same sort of thing where it's like, it's really not what we're doing.
Right.
It's what he's doing through us. What we're trying to do is cultivate the ground in our lives and the place in our lives for that tree to flourish.
Yeah.
And I actually think one of the best ways to do that, and one of the things that's been most helpful for me, is reading Proverbs. Like Proverbs, I feel like is because it's wisdom. And so like, I just feel like there's so much wisdom in that to just like do little things to make your life a better ground, make your tree, make your soil a better ground for fruit to flourish. And that sometimes is like all that we can do. And then we give the rest to the Lord and allow him to shine through us. But there's definitely tension in there that you sometimes like, for some of us, I think the tension is we land on this side of the tension where it's like, well, I can't do anything. It's all up to Jesus anyway. So I'm just going to do whatever.
Right.
And then the other ones is like, the tension is like, we try to do too much on our own. And we think
did all
like,
this.
Yeah,
I deserve it all.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. It's me. I can just be more self-controlled, more this, more that. And for me, I think I land on both sides of that sometimes.
I think I flip-flop based on what it is or what the scenario is.
So, and then the last quote is from Henry Drummond. It says, "No one can get joy by merely asking for it. It is one of the ripest fruits of the Christian life, and like all fruits must be grown." And so, what are you doing in your life to allow the fruits of the Spirit to grow? Have you cultivated the soil for the tree to blossom and to blossom often? One thing that Brooke said earlier when we were talking, and I actually forgot to put it in the notes, is she was talking about how like, it's not, and you were talking about not being able to hoard the fruits of the Spirit. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm going to hoard all this gentleness and then next time I need it, it'll be right there because I'll remember. Like the tree is almost blossoming and growing every day. Yeah. And it's like, almost even in specific moments, it's like
Yeah.
we can either access those fruits of the Spirit or we forget to and end up acting like a bunch of dum-dums.
Yeah.
And so it's like, if you try to hoard fruit too long, it'll rot.
Yeah.
And you'll end up with rotten fruit
And fruit flies, and they're the worst.
They are the worst. And so I just feel like it's constant. It's a constant thing that we need to be cultivating in our lives, even from scenario to scenario, not even just day to day. Sometimes I feel like we talk about things in like, oh, well, I just need enough patience for today. And it's like, no, I need enough patience to get my kid to brush their teeth
in this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I need to ask for that and seek that in this moment. And if I had patience earlier today, it's not all of a sudden obviously going to be here in this part of the day. And so like,
right. Or if I was patient earlier, I didn't use it all up.
Right.
It's not gone.
Yeah.
For the day.
Yeah. And so there's definitely some hard
Yeah.
parts of trying to cultivate this in your life, but it's definitely worth it. And as we walk with Jesus and as we grow in our Christian walk and our Christian faith, we should look more like this tree.
Yeah.
We should have more of these fruits in our lives, not less. And if you find yourself as you grow older and have kids or change jobs or buy houses or whatever, like whatever sort of season transition life you are, these should be more on display, not less. And if they're not more on display, then maybe it's time to cultivate the ground a little bit better. And that's what I feel in culture right now. I feel like there's not a lot of gentleness in culture.
No.
There's not a lot of self-control in culture. And like, whether you're talking about outside the church or within the church, like you can see the fruits of the Spirit lacking in culture and in our world. And so it is up to us to allow God to let those things shine through. And so we need to do our part as much as we can by cultivating that, watering the soil, doing all the things you do to take care of trees. I'm not an arborist.
Yeah. Well, what?
The arborists take care of trees. I just was impressed.
That was very good.
I impressed myself with that
Yeah.
one. I
Wow.
thought I was going to get a reaction.
I like it.
I thought you were going to go somewhere else.
No.
It looked more like idea light bulb versus
No,
like
it
I'm
was like-
impressed with myself.
Big word, light bulb.
Yeah.
It's not a super long word, but it was.
Yeah. It's very specific. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, our friend Laura wrote a book called Cultivate What Matters. And while she's not necessarily talking about, I mean, she isn't talking about cultivating the fruits of the Spirit. Hers is a little more broad topic than that, but that's an excellent book just as far as, I mean, she has every like gardening story and metaphor in there. And whether you are personally interested in gardening or not, it's such a helpful book visually
To have the language.
to figure out like, oh, this is why we do these things. And this is why showing up and working hard and doing what I can so that Christ can do the rest. Like, why that matters.
Yeah. Good. That's great.
Cool.
Anything else?
No.
Did you have anything to add to like the fruit not being there, like not hoarding it? I feel like.
Well, we were talking about, you and I earlier, was the story about the manna, right?
Yeah.
Falling from heaven, right?
Yeah.
How specific should I be? I'm a little nervous that I maybe don't know exactly the whole story.
And they could
it's
only
okay. No one's
collect
listening.
Yeah. Oh.
No, I mean right now, me and
Too
you.
far.
Yeah, but how like they could only go out and collect for today.
Yeah.
They couldn't go out and hoard all of it, and
or else it would rot.
and so like I do believe that we have been given enough for today. And so if I can step into that and believe that,
Walk by the Spirit.
and know that like I have access to all these things today. I don't need to think about tomorrow. I don't need to be so kind today that I'm not kind to someone tomorrow.
Right.
Or like, this idea of like, well, if I just, it's sort of like the checklist mentality of like, I just need to do more. So if I can do a lot of these things today, I'll be super self-controlled. I'll be this, I'll be this, I'll be this. And then tomorrow I won't be at all, but they'll all balance each other out.
Right.
And you're like, that's not exactly how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so to walk in the Spirit daily, access them all the time.
Yeah.
Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness,
Goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control.
Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for making us part of your week. Hopefully that was helpful. I definitely felt scattered.
It's okay.
Hopefully I wasn't.
Scattered.
Weirder. I don't know. Sometimes I just feel that way where I'm like, have I said anything that was worthy of being recorded?
You think you did?
Okay. Thank you for the encouragement. The comments will also be encouraging. Oh, man. I think we need to eat.
Yeah, I'm real hungry.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, tacos. Okay, wait.
Okay,
I love you. Bye.